Welcome back. I'm Lou Wieland, and I'm sitting here with Dr. John David Prologo, an interventional radiologist at Emory, and just a brilliant, brilliant guy, and certainly enjoying getting to know him and learn about how he's helping to contribute to the well-being of our citizens. And Doctor, you talked a little bit about, in the previous segment, about pain management and obesity, and the fact that obesity is epidemic.
Indeed, and it's a huge cost. Of course, human beings' well-being is our primary concern, but it's impossible in today's climate to ignore the cost as well, and the burden that obesity has on the medical system in the way of diabetes and heart disease and all of the downstream sequelae of obesity. Our interventions can help that. We talked a little bit in the break about the thinking behind these interventions and how is it that we came to discover that these might be helpful to people. And it's an interesting background, I think. It's an interesting backstory. It's my personal, I should qualify that. This is not necessarily the institution's point of view, but for me in my life, I've grown up with friends and relatives and even my own mom and dad, and I've watched them for years and years and years struggle with weight. So one of the things that I did during my training is pursue an outside certification, and that's a certification in obesity medicine. The reason I did that was to try and understand how it is that obesity is an epidemic. It seems to me that with such a high failure rate, there must be something more to the story than what we're historically told. Historically, we're taught things, no pain, no gain. It's a matter of willpower. It's all in your head and things like that. And it occurred to me that if that were true, these numbers might be 50-50. Maybe 50% of people could succeed with a diet and 50% of people would fail. But the reality is that 95% of people who are overweight and embark on a diet fall short of their goal. And in fact, most of them return to their baseline weight. And so it seems to me that there must be more to this. I've seen strong people, including my own mother, who's able to manage 3 boys and go to college and graduate cum laude and hold down a job and a marriage. So clearly a strong person who still couldn't overcome this. And so I think it must be more than persistence and willpower. And in fact, it is. There's a complex system at play in the body. It's survival rooted. And it only gets more and more powerful the farther out you go from the initiation of calorie restriction. So the initiation of the fateful day one. Monday is my day one. Monday I'm starting my diet, so most commonly. And then 6 or 7 days in, everybody's off. And so the body is responsible for that. That's not a coincidence, and it's not rooted in willpower. And in fact, this cascade is what we're trying to interrupt to help people get over the hump.
So, I would like to ask you one question, too. By the way, I heard that the epidemic is more severe in the United States than in other countries.
That's true. That's absolutely true. And a lot of that is food availability. A lot of that is financially driven, in that the places where we do get our food are profit-driven, and so the ingredients that are cheaper are usually not as good for us. And then the flip side of that is our lives are so busy nowadays that the old sitting down at the table and home-cooked meal have sort of gone by the wayside, and we find ourselves eating at all of these places who are decreasing the quality of the ingredients to make money. And so the obesity epidemic that's a small part of it, but that is definitely part of the what contributes to the epidemic in the U.S.
So basically, if I understand you correctly, one way to deal with the diet issues and the difficulty is through pain management, and that's really your solution for the difficulty in dieting. Right?
So that's close. It's the nerves are responsible for so many things in the body. Nerves are responsible for carrying pain signals, and nerves are responsible for carrying hunger signals. And so our evolution of image-guided procedures, or our evolution of interventional radiology into the management of pain through nerve modulation, also applies in the arena of obesity. That is to say, we can potentially affect obesity by modulating the hunger nerve.
Is this available right now, or is this in an experimental stage, or where is this?
It's definitely an experimental stage. These are first-in-world procedures being done, and they're being done under the guidance of the FDA to keep patients and subjects safe. And so the availability is there if patients are interested in signing up for a trial.
So they do that through just contacting Emory and contacting the
Yes, sir. The Department of
your department
of Radiology and Imaging Sciences. Our division is interventional radiology. They can certainly reach out to my office specifically, but any one of my partners or our coordinator, whose name is Maria Riva.
So we're going to talk about the opioid epidemic as next segment, about how this could help in that, which is a huge, huge problem. Hundreds of billions of dollars.
And people dying.
And many people dying. And so stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break.
Whew. Yeah, going okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We can just keep it going if you're ready to go right now. Or if you have to. Okay.